Well, it's snowing and this is when it gets really tough for the birds. And you can see this is a bird bath and it's completely frozen over. It's frozen solid. So they need access to drinking water. It's very hard for them to drink water when it's frozen, and it's not particularly good for them. If you can free up any water, they don't mind if it's cold, but just especially if you're putting food out for them, because they need to be able to eat food and dampen it to swallow, because some of the food like bread and things like that are very dry, and of course they will drink out of their bird bath, but when it gets that frozen, and you can see we've got snow falling, but the snow is freezing. It wouldn't be a heavy fall, but it's freezing solid, and so you have that bird bath is just full of frozen water and snow. And the trick then is to try and put food out, but while snow is falling, if you put out food it's going to get buried, and it might be hard if it gets frozen over. Then the food could be just lying there, so don't put out huge amounts of food. I mean, just feeders are the best, and make sure that they don't freeze over as well, but don't pour water on them. Just shake them a bit, rattle them, tap them with a stick just to knock off the snow, and to basically don't let them get too damp, because that's when food could go off. Although it's so cold, nothing is likely to go off for a while, but it could at the end. At the bottom of the feeders get very damp, and then maybe the food might go rotten and you wouldn't notice. And do clean the feeders. So here you can see some of the food that's really good for the birds. These fat balls are great. These are suet balls. They're called fat balls because they're balls of fat with seed in them. But you can see there's snow accumulating on top of them. It won't do much harm up there. It's just if it gets onto the food, it's a problem. It's not really a problem with these kind of feeders. Now this kind of feeder is the same. That water can sometimes get into the top, and it can cause a bit of trouble. And it's a good idea to give the feeders a wipe with those wipes that you'd use for cleaning surfaces, like Dettol wipes or any of the cleaner bathroom wipes, just to make sure that no harmful viruses or any kind of, say, fungal disease gets onto the feeders. There is a problem with some funguses being transmitted, and some viruses being transmitted with funguses from feeders. So here's another one. The peanut feeders are the ones that are going to be the most problematic, because snow gets in, it'll sit on them, and it does kind of get into them a bit, and it'll get damp at the bottom, and the peanuts will start to go off. So you do have to clean those out and shake them out and wash them, actually boil them if you can, well, I'd say every few days if you can, but maybe once a week. Seed feeders aren't too bad. This one has seen a lot of action, and yeah, so you can see snow, ice accumulating up here, but once it stays out of the feeders, and it's okay for a couple of days, it's only really a problem if it's a lot, for a long time. But we have, now this snow is falling now. It could, with the sun, if the sun gets strong enough today, it could all melt. But do make sure you put out food for the birds. If the ground freezes, many birds can't get food because it's just too hard for them to forage. Most of them will be under bushes or in trees, and any food you can give, you can see a blackbird waiting on the fence over there. Because the blackbird will actually take bread on days like this, or little bits of breadcrumb, or suet balls as well. They're not so good at perching on the feeders. They'll eat some of the seeds. It depends.